This is GWN7 Local News.
Tonight, a sex charge MP under investigation by a parliamentary committee. A new job offer for the Premier, educating East Coast politicians. Half the women's team at South Bunbury Footy Club have walked out.
And a real winter pattern settles in on the south. All your weather latest is coming up.
It's now 5:30 and we're live across Western Australia.
Good evening. South West MP James Haywood, who's facing child sex charges, has now been referred to the WA Parliament's Powerful Procedures and Privileges Committee. It will be investigating what he told a court, which was considering his bail conditions. If the committee finds that he misled the court or misrepresented his role as an MP, he could be expelled from Parliament.
When James Haywood was charged with child sex offences last year, he resigned from the Nationals, but not from Parliament. And he's continued to represent the South West. But now he's the focus of an investigation by Parliament's Procedures and Privileges Committee. And if it finds he has broken Parliament's rules, he could be expelled.
On balance, I'm of the view that the conduct as alleged is of such gravity that it requires investigation. Whilst acknowledging from the outset the practical issues that such an investigation may face, I refer the matter to the Procedures and Privileges Committee.
Alana Klahesi is referring to the information James Haywood provided to a court when he was trying to get his bail conditions altered so that he could attend a hemp conference in Queensland. It's understood the court was told he would be forced to resign from a parliamentary committee if he couldn't attend. The matter was first raised in the Legislative Council last month by the Leader of the House, Sue Ellery.
What information did the Honourable James Haywood provide to the court? Did the Honourable James Haywood provide that false information to the court? And if he did, does that constitute a contempt of the council? It is a serious matter, President.
Yesterday, she told the council that she had supplied a transcript of the court hearing.
On Friday the 10th of June, I had cause to provide to you, President, by way of email, a copy of the transcript of the bail variation hearing that I had referred to on the 19th of May 2022, and I indicated in that email to you my intention to table it.
This matter demonstrates the particular difficulties of a member of this House facing serious charges in the courts.
Jenny Shon, GWN7 News.
The Federal Nationals leader has called on an unlikely ally for help. David Littleproud was in WA today slamming Federal Labor's plans to phase out live sheep exports, and he's asked Mark McGowan to help educate East Coast politicians.
It's a multi-million-dollar industry facing possible extinction, with political parties divided over what to do. The Prime Minister set on phasing out live sheep exports by sea and air, but Mark McGowan isn't on board. Newly installed Nationals leader David Littleproud swooping in.
And I say to Mark McGowan, my invitation will be there every day of the week to meet with you and then work hand in glove to make sure that we can convince Federal Labor that this is a dumb decision.
The now Shadow Agriculture Minister hopeful he can rely on the Premier's influence to convince his federal counterparts.
To put my hand out in a bipartisan way, to work collaboratively together, to educate those East Coast politicians about the importance of this industry.
One of those politicians is inside the coalition. Deputy Liberal leader Susan Lee publicly pushing for an end to the industry.
As part of the coalition, let me make this very frank statement. That is a line in the sand the National Party will not allow to be crossed.
It's an industry almost entirely run out of WA, which has made major changes since this distressing footage was filmed by a whistleblower on board the Awassi Express.
Sheep that are discharged in the Middle East this week are in exceptional condition, and our importers are really thankful for food security.
The Premier now in an uncomfortable position. His State Agriculture Minister backs a ban, and it won't be as easy as it has been to publicly slam the Commonwealth. Now Labor is in power there.
I'll give him cover. I'm happy to take the uppercuts in Canberra.
Tom Marlow, GWN7 News.
WA's COVID figures dipped a little overnight with 6,262 new infections reported. The number of active cases across the state has dropped to 36,602. That's down about 1,500 from yesterday. Right now there are 258 people with COVID in hospital, with 9 people in ICU. WA Health is reporting 3 new deaths which have been backdated to last Wednesday. They include men in their 70s and 80s and a woman in her 90s. The South West continues to have the highest regional caseload, with 430 new infections there overnight, with 2,306 people currently in isolation. The head of WA's peak medical body says the WA Health Department got lucky in their review into the case of an elderly woman who died after waiting for 3 hours without treatment in the emergency department at Bustleton Hospital in April. The review found that the woman in her 70s was suffering from a rare, life-threatening heart condition, and immediate hospital care was unlikely to make a difference. A number of recommendations were made. But WA's AMA president says they don't tackle the main issue, ambulance ramping.
That doesn't mean that ramping is okay. It just means the health department got lucky in this situation, that it probably didn't make a difference to this lady, but it could make a difference to a lot of other people. And that's why we need to get to the bottom of it.
Elderly people living in the regions will now have access to more legal support. Launched today as part of World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, more lawyers and social workers will be made available virtually as reports of elder abuse continue to climb.
These were the pictures that shocked the nation, but abuse of our elderly is on the rise.
To the end of May, we experienced a 56% increase in the number of elder abuse services we provided compared to the same time last year,
prompting Legal Aid WA to expand its Elder Rights WA service in the regions, connecting seniors who may be affected by elder abuse with a Perth-based team through virtual offices or on the phone.
Living in regional WA can increase vulnerability. There's not necessarily the same access to services and information.
With access to lawyers and social workers.
There's a lot of shame that can come into, an older person reaching out to us to say this has occurred. So that's the role of the social worker, is to really support.
And while signs of physical distress is an obvious indicator, other forms of abuse can often be hidden and hard to detect, like financial, emotional or psychological abuse.
Something that happens without people really being aware that it's happening, and it can lead to situations where people are actually starting to give up their autonomy, give up their financial resources.
It's a really big step for someone to come forward or to even sort of hint that there might be an issue with a relationship with their child or with a close friend.
Tom Marlowe, GWN7 News.
WA Police today revealed an upgrade to technology designed to keep their officers accountable. Body-worn cameras have been part of the tool belt for a few years now, but the new ones can live stream an officer's every move.
It's a piece of equipment made to help the community, providing evidence for police and making sure they do the right thing.
We recruit really good young officers, but having a camera record what you do, we know that's another safeguard around making sure that we're at the top of our game every day.
Now an upgrade to the body cameras have helped them become an extra weapon in sticky situations. Their quality of vision and audio is improving, and there's now an option for it to be live streamed back to their command centre, giving them better situational awareness and more safety.
What it also does is can put an older head on young shoulders. So you might have some relatively inexperienced junior guys out there confronting some difficult situations. Someone back in the command centre might be able to provide them with direct advice as to how to deal with that challenge.
They've been rolled out in Perth and Northbridge, expecting it to be useful among the nightclub circuit.
It'll expand as time goes on, but those devices being used in Perth are there forever.
The rollout of the original cameras across the state was completed midway through 2020. They were fast-tracked to Geraldton following the fatal shooting of an Indigenous woman in Carlu. The officer was last year found not guilty of murder, with a key piece of evidence, CCTV, from a house down the street. Lockie Byrne, GWN7 News.
Shauna Willis is back at the weather desk. And Shauna, more winter weather today for the south.
Thanks, Noel. Cold and rainy and -degrees to the far southeast. Now, today we had a cold front moving in. You can see here on that southwest corner. So we had a bit of a mix of showers with sunshine, with a trough extending inland from that West Pilbara. And we did have a few showers today over the Gascoyne from that. Now, it has been all sunshine, though, for the Kimberley. 33 was the top for both Derby, also there for Broome. Curtin, our official hotspot today, 34 degrees. We had a dry 28 for both Port Hedland, also there for Karratha. 25 with some rain for Carnarvon. Geraldton reached 22 after some rather gusty northeasterlies. And we had a couple of light rain recordings for the Goldfields, and it was a cold start for Kalgoorlie. 3 degrees there before 21. And some cool maximums further south today, along with some showers. Bunbury 13 to just 17. Albany had a top of 19. And we dropped to -1 at Ayr this morning. That was our official cold spot. Esperance went from 7 into 20. Rainfall up until 9 this morning. Now 11 millimetres at Rottnest Island, also recorded at Denham in the Gascoyne. We had 9 mils at Shark Bay, and our heaviest report since then has been 8 mils at Cape Lewin. Now to the weather wall, a big thanks to Alexis and Shanisha at Quairading District High. Helpers at Beachlands were Rise On, Jasmine and Bryce, and here's a happy trio from St Joseph's in Albany. Well done to the Year 3 Gold and Blue. And I'll be back after sport with the very latest on your forecast.
Okay, thank you, Shauna. Also coming up, Albany's Misery Beach is the best beach in Australia. So why is it covered in litter? Plans to investigate a possible fast train between Perth and Bunbury have taken another step forward, with business and accountancy giants KPMG being paid $500,000 to develop a strategic business case. It'll be looking at the economic, social and environmental costs and benefits of the project. Altogether, $8 million in federal and state funding has been committed to investigating the plan. However, even if the study says a fast train is feasible on the current Australian route, it will be years before it happens. People and businesses in Collie spent today coming to terms with the Premier's announcement yesterday that the Collie and Buja power stations will be shut down within 8 years. And opinions are divided. Some have supported the move, others say it will ruin the town.
A mixed reaction to a decision which had been forecast well in advance.
I think it's an idiot idea, as they have the trouble in the east because they've closed them there and they've got no power now. So we're going to do the same bloody thing here.
Yeah, it might take a while, but yeah, Mark McGowan's doing a good job, I guess, but see what happens.
Around 1,200 workers will be impacted by the Muja and Collie power station shutdowns, and the fallout could spread further than the families of those made redundant.
Not just about the workers, I think, and that's one of the things I think that we just need to not lose sight of, that yes, the workers, we are definitely going to be affected, but potentially it is going to be the whole town as well.
Meanwhile, local council remains optimistic about the future as long as there's clarity and transparency about the transition phase.
The ideal circumstance for all of those workers that want to carry on with their career is to step one day out of their existing job and the next day into the next one, and that's really what we're working hard on. Businesses and individuals will be, having those conversations around the dinner table, working out what they need to do individually.
Almost all the people we spoke to here in Collie today told us they were from out of town, and that could be significant. Perhaps tourism will provide more jobs for locals in the future.
And it seems many are discovering there's more to Collie than coal.
As a tourism market, we're picking up at the moment, and I think we've got a positive future in tourism. A lot of it's going to rely on what other industry comes to town to fill that void created by the power stations.
Amanda Sabatino, GWN7 News.
Albany's Misery Beach, named the best beach in Australia, has had a major clean-up after it was littered with rubbish. Sea Shepherd volunteers found thousands of pieces of rubbish discarded on the beach. Now they're warning beachgoers to use common sense and take away everything they bring with them.
It's known for its crystal blue waters, secluded location and rich history. Albany's Misery Beach was a pristine paradise, but over the last month it's turned into a dumping ground. More than 1,000 pieces of rubbish were collected by Sea Shepherd volunteers at the weekend.
The total ended up being around 15 kilograms worth, which is pretty small in the scheme of things.
but still it's not good enough for our beautiful coastline down here.
A range of items from single-use plastics, glass and cans were found on the beach, as well as dirty nappies and cigarette butts.
So there were a couple of used nappies on Sunday, which is not nice for us to pick up either. We did find some discarded fishing line, some cans and glass, but the focus was really on the microplastics on Sunday actually.
Misery Beach is so named because when the local whaling station was in operation, blood and whale remains stained the sand here red. But that's all in the past, and this year Tourism Australia named Misery Beach the best beach in Australia.
It's believed the increase in litter has come from the beach's popularity, with many tourists flocking to the secluded spot to catch a glimpse of the hidden gem. Now Sea Shepherd is warning any beachgoers to use common sense and take any rubbish with them when they leave.
If there's no bin around, then you need to take responsibility and take that rubbish with you. So we do have pristine coastline down here and, arguably some of the best beaches in the world. So we're just looking to keep it that way.
Elise Holden, GWN7 News.
Coming up next in sport, Eagles coach Adam Simpson as the players prepare for battle again following their bye round. A number of West Coast Eagles superstars will return from injury this weekend, but their coach says don't expect them to be at the top of their game. Jeremy McGovern will return after back spasms kept him from the Crows game, while Kalgoorlie's Dom Sheed, Geraldton's Liam Ryan and Willie Rioli all got through games in the Waffle last weekend.
It always takes a few weeks of, AFL exposure, so even playing a bit of waffle ball, it's not the be-all and end-all, but I think we must have 5 or 6 players who've played 1 or 2 waffle games, and that'll get them better prepared for sure.
The Eagles will need to beat Geelong on Saturday at Optus to avoid creating a new record for the most consecutive losses for the club. A South West Football League club has seen an exodus of players following on from a racial abuse incident several weeks ago. The South Bunbury women's team has had 9 players request transfers from the club after one was banned for what the club says was a breach of its code of conduct.
By far the most dominant team in Swaffle women's history, capping off their three-peat last season.
For the unrivalled South Bunbury women's team.
Now, after 8 straight wins this year, they could struggle to field a team. The exodus led by their best player in last year's grand final.
Kate Fielding.
Fielding brilliant in the ruck this afternoon. An inaugural Tiger. So ingrained in what this club is all about.
It stemmed from an incident a month ago when Kerry Park forward Hayden Yarran was racially vilified on field by 2 South Bunbury men's players. The club was fined and went through a racial education seminar, but it also saw 3-time women's premiership coach Max Jetta step away from the club.
I love footy, but it's impacted me mentally. We have to step away to make an impact for the community to speak up.
The team rallied around Jetta, which Fielding spoke about in a recent local online sports show.
It's really hard for us to put the South Bunbury jumper on at the moment. I know a lot of people aren't going to like that from the club, but it really is. It's really hard to put it on, and we are copying it because we get tarnished with the same brush.
The club handed her a 4-week ban. It hasn't been confirmed what exactly for, but the club told GWN7 News there was 2 breaches of the club code of conduct and 4 breaches of the player code of conduct that were a result of repetitive and ongoing disrespect towards the club and officials.
And we thought that we were doing the right thing and leading those potential changes. It looks like the club or the board feels differently. So it's really sad, and I will be leaving South Bunbury.
She's been joined by 8 teammates. Lockie Byrne, GWN7 News.
Shauna Willis is back next with a look at the weather forecast, and there's some real winter weather on the way.
Welcome back everyone, and a very happy 98th birthday tonight to Mavis Bennett's of Albany. We hope you've had a lovely day of celebration. Let's take a look now at your forecast. On a front overnight may bring some thunderstorms to the Gascoyne and the southwest coast tonight, but we then have a slight easing of conditions south early in the day before the approach, as you can see here, of another stronger cold front. So we'll have showers redeveloping over that far southwest, while that trough you can see through here to the northwest should continue showers around about the Gascoyne area. That strong front then sweeps through on Friday. So along with that northern trough, we should have showers reaching pretty much southwest of a line from Marty right down through to Warburton to Forest. Some possible thunderstorms also Exmouth through to Esperance. And it is a wet and windy weekend ahead. We've got showers from Port Hedland right down through to Giles on Saturday. Some possible thunderstorms sitting southwest of a line from Harvey right through to Albany. And then a new high develops well off the west, you can see there on Sunday, but we are still likely to see showers from well out through to Giles, more frequent to that far southwest corner. It's still very windy and some thunderstorms as well to the south coast. A different world though for the Kimberley. Sunny with some nice easterlies tomorrow, reaching 32 in Kununurra. We have clear skies for Broome, 33, 17 in Port Hedland there tonight before 31, and a mostly sunny top of 26 in Exmouth. Now a high chance of showers for the West Gascoyne tomorrow, even a possible thunderstorm, 24 in Carnarvon, partly cloudy into the central west, 13 in Geraldton into 24 there. Still some showers to that far southwest tomorrow, Bunbury and Bustleton both 21. Now it's also 21 for Albany, but mostly sunny there, fresh winds. Further inland, some morning fog into a mostly sunny day as well, 21 there for Southern Cross. Now it is all sunshine further to the southeast, another 21 for both Ravensthorpe and Esperance, while the chance of a shower or two for Kalgoorlie, looking at 11 there before 21. Let's check your northern waters. Strengths reaching up to around about 25 knots for parts of the Kimberley, also that Pilbara coastline. On western waters, strong wind warnings have been issued for both Bunbury and Lewin coastline, and we should see strengths 15 up to around about 25 knots. On southern waters, swell to 3 metres there off Albany. So some showers with a rather cool 12 in Canberra tomorrow. We're looking at 15 the top here for Melbourne. Perth, well, they get a partly cloudy 22. Good night.
Thank you, Shauna, and that is GWN7 News for this Wednesday evening. We'll be back later with updates. You can watch our news programs anytime you like on 7plus or follow us on social media. 7 News from Perth is next. From our team around the state, good night, Western Australia.